Thanks for staying with us. Now, the race for ANC Gauteng is heating up. The voting process has not yet ended, and we understand there may be delays. eNCA's Lindo Kuhlekulu joins us live with the latest. Lindo, there's been delay after delay and hiccup after hiccup with regards to this conference. Is there any delay with voting at this stage?
Well, there's no delay, Heidi, but we should appreciate that there are over 1,000 delegates that need to be taken through this process of voting. So that is exactly what is continuing just behind me. And some of the things that we are hearing are lobbying songs saying that Panyaza must take over, Lebogang Maile must take over. And the Electoral Commission, in fact, is the one that just came here in this particular queue that you will be seeing behind me. They're essentially saying that it's not allowed at this stage to continue to be seeing these lobbying songs, particularly because they are about to go and vote. So those are some of the things we are seeing unfold here. But what we wanted to do also is just to touch base with the region of Johannesburg. We've been touching base with other regions as well. Tshwane has, in fact, reflected in terms of what they are expecting from this particular region, what they are from the provincial conference, and also what they are expecting that this province will do in terms of helping them coming back to this particular conference, as far as issues of saying that they must regain governance in some of those regions that they've lost governance. I'm trying to speak now to the regional secretary, newly elected from the recent regional conference. Thank you so much for your time. Just give us a sense in terms of what is the lobby group that the city of, rather the region of Johannesburg is supporting at this stage? Just give us a sense of that, and why is it that you believe that candidate of yours should in fact triumph over some of the challenges that you are seeing just behind you?
Yeah, look, thanks very much. Good evening to your viewers. Firstly, let me indicate that in terms of the guidelines to the provincial conference, regions are not necessarily required to pronounce their preferences. So as a result, as Johannesburg, we never pronounced our preferences. What we focused on was to discuss, resolutions that we must sponsor into the provincial conference. However, as individual delegates coming from different branches, and also ourselves as leaders, we do have got our different preferences, as it is expected that we, have those preferences so that we can have a leadership collective that must be elected in this conference, of course, informed by, number of issues that we might want the province to focus on moving forward to 2024 provincial and national elections.
Just take me through your individual preference, because you are saying that Johannesburg is coming, not necessarily.
Yeah, look, I personally support Comrade Lebogang Maile, who is coming from Johannesburg, the region that I'm leading as the regional secretary. Comrade Maile is a young person that have went through number of mass democratic movement structures, youth movement. He was the president of COSAS, who, his leadership, has been very progressive in terms of repositioning COSAS, who also honored Mamwini Madikizela Mandela when it was not fashionable with honorary president of COSAS, and he also led the ANC Youth League, as the chair of the province in Gauteng. He's one of the longest serving members of the Provincial Executive Committee, and I believe that he has been well prepared to can take this movement forward into this renewal process that will ensure that the ANC is renewed. And this renewal process, that is why we talk about Adiwele, in the campaign for Lebogang Maile, because Adiwele is about how best do we build a better life for our people, and we believe that Lebogang Maile, who is young in a province that is dominated by young people, he's the relevant leader that must take the ANC forward, and we believe that renewal will translate into a better life for the people of Gauteng.
Just talk to me about the fact that you said that some of the things you'll be focusing on is these commissions to try and put forth your proposals. The city, the region of Johannesburg has obviously had its conference. It was successful. In fact, the outgoing chairperson said it was one of the conferences that reflects exactly what a conference of the ANC should be about in terms of not having high security and all of that. But I want to focus on the commissions. Sure. Johannesburg is a thorny issue in terms of saying that there are a plethora of issues, whether it comes from the fact that there's a lot of migration from other provinces to come and try seek opportunities, but at the same time we are seeing organizations such as Operation Dudula being disgruntled with the fact that there are some foreign nationals, undocumented or otherwise, that are essentially seemingly taking jobs from these South Africans. There are those issues that are at play here. There was a march from Soweto just a week ago. Talk to us about what is it that you will be presenting as the city of Johannesburg, rather as the region of Johannesburg in the ANC, to say that what is it that you will be bringing about, contributing to this festival of ideas to ensure that there is meaningful change as far as some of the issues of Johannesburg are concerned?
Yeah, look, thanks very much. Yes, indeed, in our regional conference we have engaged in a number of commissions. Organizational Renewal Commission, which all of them, they were based on the base document where we discuss about the strategic outlook of the organization, which is more of an ideological discussion. It focused also on how best do we reclaim the city of Johannesburg. We also focused on the commission that focused on the elections. As you know, that we came from, 2 elections that we did not do well as an organization. And as a result, we had to reflect so that we can understand in terms of what kind of challenges that the movement is facing, which led to our people not to go out and to vote for the African National Congress. And we had those kind of conversations. And there are a number of recommended, resolutions that we are bringing into this provincial conference. All our delegates, we have given them all those recommended resolutions so that when they go to different commissions, that are intended to take place in this conference, hopefully that plan to have them, it will still continue so that they can be able to make reference the issues of energy mix. You will know that number of our townships are affected by electricity issues informed by, especially the ESCOM supplied areas, and I can tell you ESCOM was the major issue that led to the low voter turnout, and for us as an organization, so that where we got a voter low turnout and we did not even perform well. And I think it's one of the issues that we believe as the organization we must take responsibility, and we must ensure that we transform that state-owned entity, and heads must roll when it's necessary, because it is ESCOM is led by people who are reactionary, people who don't care about the plight of our people on the ground, so, and we must be able to ensure that we deal with those issues. The incoming chairperson is here. Don't you want to talk to him?
I wanted to say that you'll probably be happy to see the person that you've just said is an incoming chairperson of this particular region. This is the regional of the province. This is the regional secretary of Johannesburg, just taking my job away and throwing to what he calls the incoming chairperson of Gauteng. Thank you so much for your time, Bob Maile. Perhaps just, I want to take it personally and say, how are you feeling? There are people that are singing Adiwele, some are singing Panya Panya. It's obviously edging closer towards the results, but just take me through in terms of really how you are feeling. Are you sweating? Are you fine?
Not at all, because to be given an opportunity to be a contender, it's a privilege, it's humbling, because it's not about status, it's about serving, it's about being bestowed a responsibility to serve our people, and that's what the ANC is about. That's why I've joined the struggle.
There's obviously a lot of issues that need to be dealt with, but right now I think what is looming is the fact that there's a voting process. There'll be results announced after the tallying of those votes. But let's talk about some of the things that are expected to happen. One of those processes is the issue of saying that the outgoing chairperson was saying this should be a festival of ideas. You spoke to me a little bit earlier on in terms of before the conference started. You said that it needs to be also about reflecting and introspecting some of the things that you've presented as policies that you've not been able to implement, or in fact introspecting whether you have been able to implement. But just talk to us in terms of those policies. What are some of the things that you are hearing on the ground in terms of what needs to change? The regional secretary was talking about some of the things that need to change as far as ESCOM and Johannesburg is concerned, but you also have an issue of saying that governance is something you should be dealing with, including in Ekurhuleni, Johannesburg, as well as Tshwane. Talk to us about some of those issues, the ideas of ensuring that you continue in the fashion of regaining ground in terms of those issues.
The living conditions of our people has been worsening because the economy has not been doing well for a number of reasons. As a result, jobs have not been created, poverty levels have been going high, crime levels have been going high. We have seen the non-performance of some of the state entities, ESCOM being one of those, and that has a negative impact on the economy. We know that we are in the post-COVID period. We know that it has created a lot of problems for our economy, and as a result, there are many problems which affects the daily living experiences of our people. And the ANC is there to solve the problems of our people, and for as long as it's not able to do that, it will be irrelevant. And that's why we must make sure that the ANC becomes agile, it becomes robust, it becomes relevant amongst our people.
The most important thing about my job is to, in fact, try to ask the questions that people out there might be interested in. And when we see in terms of the feedback on social media platforms, people are watching and people are reacting to some of the interviews we do. I think the most important one is for me to perhaps look at me, speak to me in a sense of saying that I'm a Gauteng resident. People are saying that this is a conference that might not bring about change for the people of Gauteng, but there are those that are hopeful to say that a certain lobby group, if it emerges, they will then be able to see change. But what would you be saying if you were looking at me as perhaps the entire constituency of the society, to say that the ordinary person out there, what is the message from someone that is potentially going to be a leader of this particular province?
Conference is an event. Change is constant, and as I've said, that there are many problems. We will be looking at how do we solve those problems, looking at different mechanisms. And as I've said before, we look at the policies that we've put in place. Those that have not worked, we must review them. You will know that we went to the national conference. We spoke of expropriation of land without compensation. We spoke of nationalizing the mines. We spoke of nationalizing the South African Reserve Bank. Those are the issues we must look at, because we don't come with policies for its own sake. We come with policies so that they can impact on the lives of our people. And if the policies that we have in place are not working, then we have to review them.
Forgive me if I just ask one question to Ubaba Umzwandile Masina in terms of Ekurhuleni. The decision obviously has been handed over to the incoming PEC to deal with the issue of the quarantined votes. Do you welcome this? There's also going to be quarantined votes within the region when it comes to some of the branches that are affected in this particular conference. Is this something you welcome, or is this something that you would have wished would have been different in terms of this particular decision that has been taken by the PEC as well as some of the NEC deployees?
Well, the ANC is a process-based organization, so as a disciplined member of the ANC, I accept any decision that has been made by the proper structure. I believe that the National Executive Committee sat and deliberated amongst many other issues, including the issue of Ekurhuleni, and referred it back to the province. I was in the PEC that took a decision that the incoming PEC will have to conclude on this matter, and I have confidence in the processes of the African National Congress whatever the decision that is reached, I think it's a decision we'll accept.
You are a campaign manager of Babu Umayile. Talk to us about the numbers. Did you do the head count? Did you do the head count? Are we winning?
There's no campaign manager. That's a DA arrangement. We are comrades here. We have a campaign. As a generation of young people who just came from the Youth League, who believe that the time for these younger leaders who have been selected amongst us are going to assist the movement to do things differently in Gauteng. As you know, that one of the major challenges we are facing is that we are losing, younger voters because we're doing things in the traditional way. We believe that Gauteng, is a melting pot, so we've got to do things differently. When we look at how we've conceptualized our campaign, really, it's about changing people's life. It's about touching people's life on the ground. Because if you look at the cost of living here in Gauteng, there are many factors, or there are many things that we can do differently to try and ensure that we create a good living conditions for our communities on the ground.
What is the head count saying? Are you winning?
Well, everyone is winning. They are winning. We are winning until the IEC come. But for now, we have confidence. We have been able to put a very good, powerful campaign, and it was not based on mudslinging. It was a campaign of the African National Congress. There are things we are not happy about, including what we're experiencing here. Our phones are not working. We're wondering what is happening. So those things will always be a concern to us.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there for now in the interest of time. Thank you so much. The first person we spoke to, of course, is Sasabona Manganye. The second person.
Okay, that was our reporter Linda Guhle out in Benoni at the ANC Provincial Conference. It seems as though we lost him at the end. Thank goodness it was at the end. You got the gist of it, and also speaking to Lebogang Maile.